Hey, good morning, friends. Pastor Jason checking in with you on this Friday morning. Little chilly, little windy. Think we're waiting on some rain to come in later today, but the weekend looks nice. Sun comes back out, warms up a little bit. Um, Hope you guys are all having a great week. That you are safe, that you are healthy, that we are staying appropriately socially distanced from each other, so we can get through this time of quarantine and isolation faster and work on getting back together. I don't know about you, but I can't wait. Can't wait to get back together with some of you guys, with friends, with family, with church family. Um, I've been spending a lot of time the last week or so thinking about Peter, thinking about our friend Peter, the rock upon which Jesus builds his church. And Peter had a pretty remarkable few days last week during the course of Holy Week, running up through Easter. Peter Peter had some pretty memorable experiences that I think can probably speak to a lot of us where that we're at right now. Um, Thursday night at dinner, Jesus tells Peter, "Hey, you're going to betray me. You're going to deny that you even know me. You're going to forget all about me." Peter says, "What? No, Jesus. No way. Ready to follow you wherever. Not me." Later on that same night in the garden, when the guards and the soldiers come out to arrest Jesus, I wonder how much that's weighing on Peter. How much Peter wants to prove himself to Jesus that he draws a sword and cuts off the ear of one of the high priest's guards. Talk about an overreaction. Talk about just a giving in to a natural instinct. Not only is Peter probably nervous and scared and anxious, but right now he probably feels such a need to prove himself that he lashes out in anger. And then how does Peter feel to see Jesus just heal him right in front of him? Think about how disheartening that must have been. Here Peter thinks he's proving himself. He's protecting Jesus, and Jesus says, "No, don't do that." And then immediately goes and heals the man's ear. I think far too often we relapse into this pattern of we want to go over the top to prove ourselves right. We want to prove how committed we are. We want to prove how dedicated that we are. So we don't we don't moderate our actions or our words. We add words, we add excitement, we add intensity to what it is that we're doing because we want to prove something to somebody. And I wonder if in this instance Peter's just so willing to prove to Jesus how committed that he is, that he just goes so far above and beyond what Jesus wants from him. Fast forward a few hours, Jesus is led into the house of the high priest. He's being tried. Peter's kind of hanging back, but still wants to know what's happening. And over the course of times, he's asked, "Hey, don't you know him? Aren't you one of his followers?" And we all know what Peter does. He denies it, and he denies it. And then for a third time, just like Jesus said, he denies it. That point, probably out of regret, out of shame, out of fear, Peter kicks into just a self-preservation mode and just runs off, just runs away with the other disciples who had scattered and just hides. I think that's probably something pretty natural. We find that we've let someone down. We find that we've done something we never wanted to do or never intended to do. So then we just kick into this place of, oh, okay, I just got to circle the wagons. I just got to survive this. I've just got to get through this. I'll just go and be on my own, and I'll just run away. I think this pandemic that we're finding ourselves in is presenting us with a lot of opportunities to behave just like Peter did last week. We're either so anxious or so committed to prove to our friends, to our family, to our colleagues, to our coworkers, we're so anxious to prove something. We're going to try to prove that we're not scared when we really are. We're going to try to prove that we're not worried when we really are. We're going to try to prove that we're not anxious when we really are. That we might lash out with violence. We might lash out with our words. We're going to do some things that are uncharacteristic. We're going to do things that are not what we're being asked to do, just because we're so uncomfortable, because we're not being honest with ourselves. We're not being authentic. And in the midst of that, when we finally are confronted kind of with the reality that's there, we might kick into this idea of, hey, we've got to go into some self-preservation mode. Peter, after that third denial, runs off and hides. We don't hear from him again until Sunday. For us, that might be buying more than we want to at a store. That might be searching out and sharing the news stories that that back up our opinions, so that we feel right, so that we feel some comfort. I think there's all sorts of ways where this can be manifesting for us. I don't know. I think there's a lot about Peter's week last week that I think resonates for me. Provides me a little bit of insight to think about. What am I saying? What am I doing? How am I acting during this time of tension, during this time of change, during this time of transition? Am I acting out of fear? Am I acting out of regret? Am I acting out of disappointment? Am I acting out in some kind of way to prove that I'm not who I really am, or that I'm not going to act this way? I don't know. I encourage you to take some time, maybe today and in the coming days, hop into the Gospels. Start on Holy Thursday, read up through Sunday. In John, you can read up until the point where Jesus appears to them again. They're on the beach and he has breakfast waiting for them when Peter and them are out fishing. So look at that tail end of the gospel. See how Peter's behaving. See how Peter is acting during this time, and just see if there's anything that maybe you're able to identify with, or that you're able to connect with there. And then don't forget that at the end of all of it, Peter is, he's restored by Jesus. He's forgiven. Peter eventually transcends to this place then where just look at everything he does, and his writings, his teachings, his sermons on Pentecost, what he does to grow the church. We see Peter's transition, and we know that with Christ, with the power of the Spirit, we're able to do the same thing. Hope you guys all have a good day. Thanks for watching today. Thanks for listening to me babble on and on about Peter. Hey, thank you guys so much for staying connected, for staying engaged, for the comments, for the shares of these videos, for all of that stuff. I love how much that we are able to still be connected while that we are separated. It is a great source of hope and joy for me and for Pastor Angie, and for a lot of us. So thanks for checking us out today. Stay home as much as you can. Stay safe. be well. Know how much that you are loved.